Good afternoon, time for another project. So this is my latest purchase. So it's a lovely Hohner, it's a Verdi one, and it has 48 bass buttons. So you've got 12 lines of 4, so you've got the bass, counterbass, major and minor. 34 keys on the treble, and there's an MM on the treble, and 4 reeds, sets of reeds on the bass. So I really like this setup because you get this 12 lines, which means you can play a lot of different keys with that 12 lines. You don't get a 7th, but you can kind of work a little bodge to get a 7th by just playing a major with an extra little finger and get a kind of 7th-ish kind of note, which is fine. And you get a nice range of treble side with the 34 keys, so it's quite a versatile accordion. Now the lovely thing about these old Hohners is that they're really well made, so it's really high quality, and although this is probably, wow, that was 1950s, which could be like 70 years old, it's in phenomenal condition, and so it's going to be great to have a go with it. So first thing, I'll show you what it sounds like now, which is not brilliant because it hasn't been serviced probably for ever, but it's a really good thing to start to work on because it's a really good quality instrument anyway. So if I just pop it on, okay. Now the compression is remarkably good for a 70-year-old instrument which probably hasn't been worked on for ages. Compression feels really quite tight. It could be a bit better, but then we can address that with the bellows gasket and a few other things. That's good. The sound, it's a different thing, so I'll play some sounds for you. Let's start with the bass side. So this sounds distorted, sounds kind of like, just sounds distorted. Now on the treble side, put the two together. Okay, so sounds kind of rough, but that's good because it means you get a nice contrast between when you start the renovation to when you finish it. You get a nice contrast of sound and playability, so that's really good. So I'm looking forward to working on this one. So I think my first step, now that I've had a good look at it and the compression feels good, so I'm not really worried about leaks in the bellows and things, that I'm sure will be fine, is just to have a bit of a deeper delve and want to have a look at the reeds, because that's always a good sign of condition and how easy it will be to fix it if possible. I'm not expecting any massive problems because the exterior is in such good shape and looks so nice that I'm expecting it to be quite like dry looking inside without rust and mould and things, because the exterior just looks fantastic. So let's see what happens when we take it apart. So if I just turn it that way, bring this around a little bit. So let's get the pins out to start with and see where we are. So special little pliers pins. I've got my little block so that I know where everything goes. And just have a look at these reeds. Haven't been into this yet, so it's all new. I'll just take the treble side off because you can have a look at the bass side just by taking off the treble side anyway. So let's do this. The straps are fantastic, and these straps just look really nice, so I'm going to keep them definitely. And let's have a look. Get these pins out. See what we got. Okay, put that on one side. Just have to go this way. Just take. Go. Comes off. Okay. Ooh. Right. What I'll do, I'll bring the camera in so you can see what it is. Just here. So just give me a second. Okie dokie. Time to get the treble reed blocks out. So, just a simple question of undoing the little clasps here and here. I'm just going to bring it up a little bit. Undoing the little clasps and getting those reed blocks out. So let's have a go at doing that. Now, interestingly enough, they've actually put two little pins holding these in place so that they don't move, which is nice. But obviously they're stopping me from moving them as well, so I'm just going to get my pair of nippers and do one of those. Get rid of those pins, only one of them, and then before I take the reed blocks out, I'm just going to get my pencil and I'm just going to do a quick numbering. I shouldn't do too much. I'm just going to put a 1 on there and a 1 on there, so when I come to put it back in again, they just go exactly in the right place. Quite obvious anyway, but I always do that. So these are coming out. And there we go. Now, having a look at the internals of this, I can see interesting. As I'm looking inside, I can see the holes for the air to come through when the pallets are opened into the appropriate chamber of the reed block. When I look at the top line here, rather than seeing leather, I can see like tape, almost like electrical tape. So I've got a funny feeling that somebody has tried to do a little bit of a repair on this, maybe to improve the compression, but they've used electrical tape on the pallets, which will need to be addressed, because that's obviously not right. So I think what I'm going to do, I've got the reed blocks out, so just put those to one side, but I'm just curious to see what's going on with the pallets. So if I just put this down like this, I'll just bring that down like that, so I can just hopefully, oh hey, sorry about that, see if we can have a little look what's going on here, because this will be another little job needed to be done. Right, so we've got two kind of bellows pins really just holding the grill on, so I'll just get those out and then have a little look, see what's going on underneath this grill. There we go, let's get that off. Woohoo! Right, let's put that down for a minute. Let's have a look. So what I was seeing underneath this line here was like electrical tape. And so yeah, for some reason they've used electrical tape on the underside of the pallets. So a job that I would have done anyway, but nice to see, or to realise what has happened here, is that these pallets have been faced badly and they've had electrical tape put on them. So all these will come off and be putting some new pallet material on these as part of the restoration, but that's nice and straightforward, so I will come to that in a bit. So that's okay, but it's good to see to see what's happened there, but that's all right. It's not a big problem. And I said it would have been done anyway. So, but just interesting to see that as I took the reed blocks out. So if I just put that down on there, nice and safe. So now we've got the reed blocks. There we go. One there and one there. So what I've got here, I've got the white notes and the black notes, and they're in pairs. So it's one set of notes on here and the same pitch but slightly raised from the other one, so you get the tremolo when you play both of those reeds at the same time. So that's where you get the kind of tremolo sound. So these are the same rough pitch, but they'll be tuned slightly differently to each other to get the tremolo. So we've got the black notes and we've got the white notes. So what I need to do next is to find out which side is the black note. All right, which side of the reed block has got the higher tuned reeds, and which side has got the ones which are tuned lower. But I also need to work out how it's been tuned, because I need to know which is the reed side of the reed block which is tuned to the pitch, and then which has been tuned to the tremolo pitch. And the reason that's important is because what tends to happen is that the one side is tuned just accurately to whatever pitch, A440 or A442, whatever it is, and that's just straight tuning, if you like. And then on the tremolo side, the tuning will change from the lower reeds to the higher ones, so you have a bit more difference at the lower end than at the top end. So I typically have 15 cents of difference at C4 and 5 cents of difference at C6. So the tremolo side is tuned completely differently to the standard tune side. So I need to work out which is which, and also need to work out what pitch I'm dealing with. With it A440 or A442, so it can vary. So that's the next step, is to work out exactly what's going on with these reeds. So I'm just going to get a few things set up so I can actually find out what I'm dealing with. Okay, this is interesting. It is a bit of a challenge working out what's going on here, because this accordion plays the two treble side registers at the same time, so that you can't kind of isolate one from the other. They play them both at the same time. So what I need to do is work out which one is which is the one that's tuned to pitch and which one's the tremolo tuned one. Now it's a bit tricky to do that just by looking at the treble side reeds, because some of them are out of tune anyway, so it's kind of hard to work that out. So the easiest way I find to do it is to get the bass reed block out. So this is the higher two sets of reeds from the bass reed block, and I've got my bench bellows, test bellows here. So I've got little bellows underneath the bench blowing through an air hole just here, so I can then play some notes. And I've got a chromatic tuner set up on my phone, and so I can just have a look at what's going on. So I've got the chromatic tuner set to A440, and I'm going to play some of these bass notes, because the bass side will be tuned to the pitch of the accordion, whether that's A440 or whatever it is. So they'll be tuned to that. So if I work out what the bass sides are tuned to, then it helps me work out what's going on with the treble side tuning. So, and that seems to be A440, because I'm just looking at my tuner and this, and it just seems to be running on A440, so that's quite nice, because that's a nice normal pitch and kind of modern pitch as well. So this is quite encouraging. Yeah, so that's A440. So these are tuned to A440, that's the bass side. So that means that on the treble side, one side will be tuned to A440, and then one side would have been tuned differently. So now I need to work out on these reed blocks which side is tuned to A440, and then which side would be the tremolo tuned. So I'm going to do the same thing again now. So I'm going to play some notes through here. that seems to be about A440, so I'll just play the other side. No, actually, I think that's the A440. I'm going to put a little mark on here, A440. So if I play that one, and if I play the corresponding one on this side, that's tuned higher. So I think, I'm pretty sure now that I'll just double check it. I'll do one more with that one. Some of these reeds are a little bit out of tune. Let's try another one. Let's try this one. Okay, that seems to be A440. Try this one. Yeah, so this is the tremolo, so I'm just going to mark on here what I found. So what I found out is that this side here is tuned to A440, and this side here is tuned, the tremolo tune ones, which will give you that tremolo sound. So now when I'm going to tune the accordion, I know which set to tune just to pitch, and which set then to tune to my tremolo, desired tremolo pattern, if you like. So I'm just going to do some little pencil marks on the reed block, which can always be rubbed off later, just to remind me. So what I'm going to do now is do the same thing for the other one, and then that will give me a chance then to know exactly what I'm doing with the reeds, and then I'll start taking them out. Okay, so just give me a second, I'm going to just check this one is great. So now I've got my reed blocks checked and labelled, so I know which side is which. I can then start to take off the reeds, and to do that, I show the reed block. There are some little pins that have been put in just to help the kind of secure all the reeds onto the reed block, so they're going to have to come out, and then I'm going to have to very carefully prise out the reed blocks from the reeds from reed blocks, and then when I've done that, I'm going to then put them in position. So on my little mat here, I've labelled it, I've got one says H and one says L, and so what I'm going to do then is put the reeds, either the higher tuned ones or lower tuned ones, in order, so that then I don't get them all muddled up. So that's my next little step. Now the other thing to mention is that whenever I take a reed out from a reed block, I always put it back in the right orientation, because if that reed has been put into that reed block and then tuned, I want to put it back in that same orientation, because otherwise the tuning might need changing, because the fact that it's either on the outside or on the underside will slightly change the acoustics, and so it just makes a lot of sense if you're taking the reed out to put it back in the same way up, and it might just save tuning issues and you have to do extra tuning along the way. So luckily with these Hohner ones, they've stamped a H on the reed blocks, and that's on the outside, so that on the other side there isn't a H, so that is an easy way of telling which way up to put them back in. If they haven't got a marker like that on it, then what I normally do is get a metal scribe and just do a little diagonal line across the corner of all of the reeds, so that then I put them back in with that scratch on the outside. So what I'm going to do next is take all the reeds out, put them in the right places, and I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, so this is what it looks like with all the reeds out. So I've got my A440 reeds and my tremolo tune reeds, and that's the reed block. Now this is where it gets a little bit messy. This is a messy job. So the next step is I'm going to clean up the reeds and get them ready for revalving. First thing is get all the valves off. So that's just a question of, first of all, peeling off the valves. While you're doing it, you can just check the reeds as well, make sure I haven't got any broken ones. And then once I've peeled off the valves, what I normally do is get a blade and just run around this is where the wax goes everywhere. So if you've got a cup of tea on your bench, just cover it, because the wax will always end up in your tea, and that's not particularly nice. So just go around with the knife and just get all the wax off the edge of the reed, and then where the valve has been glued on, I just carefully with my blade, just very carefully get rid of that excess, whatever's left on the reed there. So I do that for all the reeds, and once I've done all the reeds for one set, so I'm going to start with the A440 ones, I'm going to put them in my ultrasonic cleaner. So I'll just give all these a little bit of a prep, get rid of the wax and the valves, and then I'll show you what I do with the ultrasonic. Give me a sec. Okay, so here we are. Got the reeds in the correct order, and I've taken off the valves, just scraped off the excess wax and just cleaned up where the valves were glued on. And so now I've got my ultrasonic cleaner set up, and in here I've got some warm water, touch of fairy liquid, and a little bit of isopropyl, so it's my special mix. And so what I'm going to do, I'm going to pop them in, give them a really good clean, and then when they come out I'm going to give them a really good warm and dry with a hairdryer, so they're actually completely dry when they're finished, so just to avoid any water staying on the reeds. So by doing that, I'm not going to have any problems with kind of corrosion or anything else, because they're going to be heated up and dried very carefully. So I'm going to pop the A440 reeds in. So let's just pop these in, give them a good clean for about, say, 15 minutes, and we'll see what they look like when they've had their little bath. So I'm hoping that they look nice and shiny, and also by putting them through here, just gets rid of all the little bits of dirt. And I find that when you've ultrasonicked your reeds, they just sound really nice. They kind of sound very clean, pingy. So give it a go. So I'll come back, I'll show you what's happened in about 15 minutes and just show you the difference with these reeds. Okay, so I've given them about 20 minutes in the ultrasonic cleaner. I've got my hairdryer ready, so I'm just going to lift these out and give them a really nice little dry off. So let's get these onto this towel. Let's see how they're looking. So they are looking nice and clean, which is a good thing. And quite shiny. Right, let's bring this in a little bit. Okay, so now I'm going to get the hairdryer out and give them a little bit of a blow. Turn them over, so they're all, both sides have done. Go, that's nice. So that's all done or dried off. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get a little t-shirt now, and I'm just going to give them a little wipe over, a little polish, and then I'm going to put them next to the ones that haven't been cleaned and show you the difference between the two sets. So I'll just do that. Give me a second. Okay, so these are the ones I've cleaned, and these are the ones I haven't yet done anything to. Probably might be difficult to see on the screen, but actually these do look shinier and cleaner. And the nice thing is when you pick one up and give it a little ping, it's got a really nice clean kind of ring to it, which is nice, and it kind of, it's really nice to hear that, because that's the kind of sound of the reed being nice and clean and vibrating really nicely. So it's nice to hear them pinging nicely, and it's always going to find that after they've come out of the ultrasonic cleaner. So what I'm going to do next is do this set in the cleaner and do exactly the same thing, and then I have both sets of reeds cleaned, prepared, ready for valving. So the final little clip of this video is just getting these ones done and showing these ones, and I'll show you all the reeds then cleaned and prepared and ready to then move on to being revolved. Okie dokie, so that's all the reeds done, all cleaned, all ready for revolving. One thing I haven't done yet is I've finished off cleaning up the reed block. So for this, what I'm going to do, I'm going to use a combination of a knife, oopsie, Swiss Army knife. I'm also going to use, where is it? This. So this is my old kind of a cutlery knife that I've kind of squared off and sharpened it, and I'm going to use that for just peeling away some of that wax, and then just use 2 grades of sandpaper. So I'm going to use some 240, 120 and some 60 grit sandpaper as well, just to get that really nice and clean, get all the wax cleaned off that. So once I've cleaned up the reed block, I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, I think this just kind of wraps it up for this little video. So I've now finished off cleaning up the reed block, so just sanding, so getting all the wax off, sanding it carefully, giving it a little bit of a final blow off, and that's nice and clean. And then all the reeds are ready, so that will do for now. When you're refurbishing accordions, it just takes a lot of time, and because you've got to deal with each individual reed, get them all cleaned, you've got to clean the reed blocks and everything, and you've got to revolve them. So it's a lengthy old job, but as long as you do it systematically and carefully at every point, there's no reason why you can't end up with a really nice result. So in the next video, what I'm going to do is start to revolve these reeds with different sizes of valves. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to just check the level, the flatness of the base of the reed block, just to make sure that when it goes into the accordion it's as flat as possible. So I'll show you how I do that as well. So that's it for this one. Thanks for watching, and I'll put another little video up when I've finished doing the valving, and we go from there. Okay, thanks for watching.